Okay, guys, so we are getting started. We are the group UNQUO, which stands for Against the Status Quo. And Dimitri Pink here, and then my guest, who are also co-hosting, will say their names.
I'm Zach Stradling.
I'm Daniel Sawicki.
Right on, guys. So I thought we'd just kind of jump into it. I'll go ahead and do my story first. If you guys want to do your
Sounds good.
story first, you're welcome to do it, but I thought maybe we just get going
Yep,
on it.
you're good. Perfectly fine.
All right. So, why would a 49-year-old man, that's me, leave a perfectly good blizzard in a no-coast state like Iowa? No coast meaning not from the East Coast, not West Coast, just no coast. A lot less opportunities, right? Specifically, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, or as I unaffectionately call it, Cedar Crapids. The city's claim to fame, after all, was days when the smell of crunch berries rolls through the air from the Quaker Oats plant. Admittedly pleasant, but short-lived, and it was never on my bucket list, guys. Locals call it the city of five smells, and at least two of them involve cargill and farm animals. So after years there, I'd grown tired of the cows in Iowa, and I don't just mean the ones on the farm. If the dating pool had been as deep as the potholes, maybe I would have grown some roots in the soil of Iowa. But I was itching for movement. I'm a nomad by nurture, not nature, nurture, and maybe a different kind of adventure. The Midwest was just too mid for me, as the young kids are saying these days. It was boring or average. But Arizona, that sounded new, extraordinary, right? My strategy was simple on paper. Take a short-term hit to build a long-term win. I called it my spinning plates approach. Keep housing, school, and transportation and cash flow just steady enough not to crash while I uprooted everything else. It wasn't elegant, but it matched my reality. Move smart, move lean, move now. That meant downsizing, liquidating, and saying goodbye to at least 80% of my stuff I had carried around for me for decades, stuff that cost me money on credit. Stuff, guys. It also meant protecting my ASU coursework so my GPA didn't melt while the rest of my life was packed into boxes. Every plate I kept spinning, money, housing, grades, brought me one more week closer to Arizona. To pull this plan off, I started porting my house voucher and downsized about 80% of my belongings into a 5x8 trailer, basically a rolling art closet, and whatever else fit in my van. At the same time, I was wrapping up my ASU coursework and trying to keep my GPA above water while fighting off the world's most persistent respiratory bug. Iowa's weather wasn't doing me any favors either. Cold, gray, and wet enough to soak through my ambition. Four different auto shops gave me four different repair quotes, so I played mechanical roulette, cashing out my Roth IRA to pay for what I hoped were the right fixes. A full tune-up, thermostat replacement, coolant, and transmission flush. I kept asking myself, what's the minimum effective dose? Just enough repairs, enough gas money, just enough faith to get me across the desert. I left Iowa on March 8th, running on caffeine, cold air, and pure determination. I stopped briefly in Kansas City and again in Kansas to crash on my friend's couch, the first warm night inside after weeks of packing. A few friends even bought art prints along the way to help me fuel up. It felt like the universe finally tipping me forward mile by mile. By March 8th, I rolled into Arizona with no guaranteed job, no permanent housing, and a van full of dreams. Within a day, I scored a temporary housing with US vets, as I am a veteran. I got reapproved to drive for Uber in just 2 weeks, and both those key plates are still spinning right now. From there, I started chipping away at back taxes, rebuilding credit, and sketching plans for my business, the Tipsy Red Fox, which is a sip and paint studio that mixes art, laughter, and maybe a drink or two. It wasn't glamorous, but for the first time in a long while, the stress felt like the progress instead of stagnation. Looking back, I learned that big changes aren't about instant success. They're about stacking small, deliberate choices until something starts to stick. My strength was using every resource I had: education, housing assistance, my vehicle, and especially my art. My weakness was underestimating the friction. And you'll get this, Zachary. Phoenix cost of living, triple digit heat. The honeymoon was over pretty quick after it hit 110 degrees here, for crying out loud. And the shock of being an online student with limited campus support. Still, those challenges forced me to adapt fast, and every day I painted, I drove, or I studied. I felt the balance tilt in my favor. My life in Iowa had felt like survival. Here, even with that heat and hustle, it feels like possibility. The plates are still spinning, but now they're part of the rhythm, one where daily effort is finally turning into stability. My art has a real chance to shine, and hopefully gallery representation in Scottsdale, Arizona. Thank you guys. Comments?
It was really, really good. I mean, so I guess I was kind of a little, what was your strategy that you were applying that for these? Because that's what the post is. Like you have to discuss the story that we're applying a
I think those
strategy.
accept short-term risk, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you don't mind, because your voices are kind of similar to me, would you say just say, "Hey, it's Zachary," da da da
Yeah.
da, or "Hey, it's Daniel." Da, da.
Sounds good.
Cool. Right on. Let's keep going.
Um,
Zachary, do you want to say your story next?
you're
Real,
stalling.
real quick, guys. I think we're supposed to do strengths and weaknesses, if I remember
Yeah.
right.
Oh, after each
Yeah.
one? Okay.
Yeah.
I was under the
I
impression it
mean,
was
it's
after all
I
three.
think we could do it after we're all done or after each story. It doesn't really matter, I don't think.
I guess
So,
while it's fresh in our mind, we could talk about it now.
yeah.
Okay, guys. Shoot. I've got my taking some notes. I value what you guys have to throw in there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really cool story. I mean, you might have been a little repetitive at sometimes, but other than that, I don't it's probably better than I can say. Like I I've never been a very creative person, so it's really hard for me to uh at least in the that sense. I'm not a very good speaker. I wouldn't say. So it's hard for me to make notes like that. This
What do
is
you? Okay. What do you guys think about the pace or the other
Um,
things, the
this
description?
is Daniel talking, by the way, and I mean, I thought it was a really well put together story. Obviously, very good preparation. Also, I do not have a story, for example, so that's something. I think the structure of this kind of, I mean, it's all about storytelling, right? So I think the structure of the story is good. It kind of follows there's kind of a come up. There's like the main I don't know how to describe it well, but the kind of the peak of the story, and then um, I guess a conclusion. It kind of follows that structure, so
Okay.
it's well
Yeah.
structured. I think that's very good.
Keep going. You're doing the four C's that was referenced in class. You got conflict, like there's a consequence, character, and the choice.
Yeah,
So nice
yeah.
job.
Yeah, good.
and I think, I mean,
Sorry if you heard my dog barking.
all good. Um, kind of lost my train of thought here, but yeah, I forgot what else I was gonna say.
You were alluding to that there was conflict. There was like it was kind of following like the things it was asking for in class.
Um, yeah.
It'll come back.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's all that I have to add.
No, honestly, I agree with Daniel. It was a really good story. There was lots of you could you could tell you put in effort and you could tell that you really each point of the story, the conflict and all of that was clearly outlined really well. Like you could tell that which parts were like the way you spoke as well when you were talking about like the conflicts that you were overcoming with your moving to Arizona was like you could tell that certain parts were more difficult than others, and like you spoke well, and that I think he talked about that as well in the lecture of like different enunciations, different ways of speaking certain words can improve your point.
another strength, I suppose, would be this is Daniel, by the way. Just to yeah. Uh, Another strength would be that you described so how your strategy was accept short-term risk. You described what that short-term risk was really well. Um, you went into a lot of detail with exactly what situation you were in and what kind of risk that was, what was at stake, and yeah, and then obviously the conclusion also tied it together very well.
All right, I'm going to take a risk here, guys. And I'm
Mhm.
going to ask you, and the purpose of this is to see, did I make some good imagery for you? Could you, in like just a basic one or two sentence, describe what the risk was and how I strategized?
Well, I know you were talking about your car troubles and you went to the mechanics and you had your uh different quotes and different monetary issues with that as well. And you talked about the heat of Arizona being a challenge for you at first. I know, like you were mentioning, sorry, short-term memory.
So
Uh,
to be fair, I'm going to draw similar blanks when I listen to your stories. One of the things that's good about education is it kind of helps us understand, are we just zombies kind of programmed and walking around, or are we like really cognizant of what is happening? And I've just started playing golf since I got out here. And one of the big takeaways for me is, you try it and then you fail. And my golf instructor is like, well, how are you going to make it different each time and adjust? Fail and adjust. So just I feel like sometimes in my education, I don't know about you guys, but it's very like just trying to get through this so I can get my darn degree so I can go out. So I just appreciate you guys.
mhm.
Yep. Um, I guess in the uh, I'm not sure how much farther I should kind of elaborate off of what I already said, but um, I guess the risk you really talked about that I noticed especially was kind of how you said downsizing. I think you mentioned something about like I don't know if I remember this correctly, maybe like 80% of your like assets you had to like either sell off, things you like grew up with, um so that you could like make this move, I guess. um
So you caught the emotional connection to things that we all have, right? And
yes.
and to have something that you're still paying credit on, but you've got to decide whether it go, you throw it away, you give it away, all the things you can do when you're moving. And that was a big chunk. So good on you for picking up on that.
Yeah. And also, yeah, I mean, I noticed that specifically. I've moved plenty of times in my life, kind of all over the place. So I know that it's so hard trying to kind of get all these like belongings that have such sentimental value. And sometimes you do have to sell some stuff off. Sometimes you have to give it away, throw it away. Um, and so yeah, that's a good emotional connection.
And let's pocket this. I'm going to write this down. I might ask you guys later after you tell us your story is times when you've given up comfortability to take on risk, as that's probably something that will happen several times in any kind of business or entrepreneurial pursuit that you have. And with that, I'll let either of you decide who wants to go next and share stories. And I'm happy to give you guys some critiques as well.
All right. I guess I'm next.
Right on.
Zach, by the way.
Hey, Zach.
Uh, so, like I mentioned a little bit before we started, this was even like I didn't. This was the first time I had seen the discussion, so I'm kind of taking a lot of this story just from my own memory, and I didn't write a lot of this down,
You're
and that's
gonna do
part.
great, man. We're not gonna.
Oh,
I promise not to strangle you through here. You just here. Let me see if I get my hands there. You'll be
so
fine. And if we need to, we'll jump in and help you out. How's that sound?
yeah. All right, that sounds okay, I guess. My so I'm 24. I'm young. I've got literally just one semester left of ASU after this class is over. I am nearing my capstone, my engineering degree. I've been working with electrical systems engineering for the last 3 years. Near the beginning of that time, when I was a freshman, we had a lot of different things that we were trying to do and try. I mean, I was brand new to college, brand new school, like, and I had, when I was in high school, basically, I had signed up to join this program, and I was like, saw engineering program, awesome, great, cool. I like engineering. And then I didn't pay attention much to, oh, this is on Polytechnic campus, which is actually in Mesa, nowhere near to where I live right now. I live in Phoenix.
Okay.
Um, so I kind of had to come up with a strategy or a way for money saving because I knew I wasn't going to have enough money to live on campus. I knew I wasn't going to have enough money to commute every single day to Mesa either. So I kind of had to come up with a strategy to help mitigate that cost of living. Because I had enough for all my other expenses, but it was really, really hard when I was coming up with strategies to come down to Mesa for classes in person, wherein I live in Phoenix. But luckily, I had friends, people who I knew who had been at ASU before, and they knew and they told me about the on-campus shuttles that they offer. And at first, I was like, okay, I guess that works. The shuttles. And then I looked up line and I was like, I looked online and I saw the schedule and I was like, wait, there's no express shuttle between Tempe and West Campus after this time. And my classes end well before that. I wouldn't be able to make it back in time. Oh no, this does not work. But I was wrong. There is a second shuttle line that also goes to the West Campus from Tempe. It just stops downtown first. So it takes a little bit longer, but it works for me. And so basically every single day for the last 3 years, 4 years about now. No, 3 years. It was like January 2023. I started taking the shuttle pretty much every day. 1 hour from West Valley campus to downtown to Tempe. Then I'd switch buses, get on the next bus, 1 hour, Tempe campus, Polytechnic campus. And that's how I got to school every single day. That's how I still get to school. And it's helped me enormously, especially now with how much gas costs,
Right.
with the gas prices going up every single day. It has helped me enormously because I have driven down to all the way down to Polytechnic campus a few times. I've had to a few times when shuttles just don't get me there in time. I It takes about a full quarter tank of my gas to get down there, and that's to get there and back. So getting to drive down there every single day for 4 days a week for classes, that'd be a full tank of gas every single week, and that's $30 I don't have.
Wait a minute.
So
You can get a full tank of gas for 30 bucks. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
back then, yes.
oh my gosh.
Now it's more like 45 or 50.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt
More,
you. We'll come back to gas.
no, my full tank, no, it's actually closer to 55 or 60 now because of $5 a gallon for $12 gas for 12-gallon gas tank, 50, $60 a gallon. 50, $60 for a full tank. But that's besides the point. And the whole point was I came up with this strategy with the help of friends to take these shuttles, and it has helped me and it has blessed my life. And that has been the strategy that I've continued to employ for my entirety of my time that I've been on ASU. Okay.
Okay, that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it. That was it.
Right on. Um, I'm impressed. I had already written things out ahead of time and basically just kind of read those things that I'd rehearsed a little bit. So, really cool that you were able to keep a solid path telling the story of how you overcame the transportation issue.
Hmm.
Among, I'm sure, lots of other issues, but you stay focused on that one. So
Yeah.
good for you.
I also, I guess, just to get straight into like strengths, I think the way that you described the strategy was, I mean, you conveyed it well. Um, I think that to me it was very apparent that kind of the strategy you used was to take the shuttles with, I guess, a sacrifice of time because you're wasting a lot of time if you're taking those shuttles. I also know I've taken the shuttles to Tempe because I live on campus on the Polytechnic campus, so I'm in Mesa. I know that taking those shuttles takes a long time. They're very slow. So still fitting that into your schedule, despite it being quite a burden,
Hmm.
is a bit of a sacrifice. And I mean, definitely a lot of dedication doing it for 3 years. But um, I see that the way you described it, it worked out very well for you. So there's kind of a really good result from applying that strategy because I mean you were consistently able to get to your in-person classes and everything, and also you saved a ton of money on gas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Real quick, guys. I also think I read somewhere where we're not so much concerned with how the story. We're concerned with how you told the story. Is that something that you guys
Yeah.
remember?
Not really
Oh
the
yes,
strategy.
yes, I
Yeah.
do
I know.
remember that being one of
Okay.
the. Sorry.
Yeah. So let's also
Yeah.
look at breaking down like maybe some techniques or some tactics that were used, and then also maybe some what was called dynamics, like where you put pauses or the velocity or attention, momentum, some of those kind of things.
Yes.
So I thought your cadence was pretty level throughout. There were some times like where you kind of had your aha moment where you realized there was a second. Okay, here's another solution here. This one's not working out. Bus route number one, or yeah, and he switched over to number two.
Yeah. And I tried to kind of mix that sort of stuff in. Yeah, like I said, this is all kind of from just the tip, like off the tongue. So it was, I was like trying to emulate and copy you a little bit, Dimitri, in some of the ways that you told your story, and try to also be pretty similar to what the professor was talking about in the lectures, with making sure that you have lots of emphasis on certain parts that you want to really, really emphasize, and also uh, pause and take that sort of things into effect. I tried to think about that as I was telling the story a little bit.
Think we can all we're learning that we can all be better storytellers. I think is this is a good exercise to
Yeah,
kind of maybe help us with
yeah.
humbleness.
Yep, of course. I mean that first story
I
said
could definitely have been a little bit more prepared for today.
I'm on the same page though, so I'm also gonna be telling my story off the dome. But another thing about your storytelling, um, actually, I don't even know how to put it into words. I think that you're well. No, never mind. Actually, I suppose because you weren't actually reading a story, you didn't like have time to structure that. But the way you said your story, the way you talked about it was kind of, I don't know if fluent is the right word for that, but it was a pretty direct kind of train of thought. You didn't really go off on like tangents about anything that's not relevant.
Yeah.
Sounds
That
pretty
is a great engineering trait. I think if I had started telling a story and hadn't written this out, it would be so scatterbrained and some of this over here and some of this over here. It would not be structured. Like my natural flow in conversation is just all over the place.
Hmm.
So I suppose, are we ready for my story, or at least whatever I can make of it?
Yes, let's do it, Daniel. And if you need a lifeline, just say so, and we'll prompt you with some questions.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm gonna kind of, actually, I'll just talk and see where I go. But uh, in and kind of in and throughout high school, I tried to start a lot of businesses. I really dreamed about, having a lot of money early on, and so there was a ton of times, many different business ideas that I had, that the entry level was more than just free. So I actually had to put money down into a business to try to start it, and then there was also some legal stuff sometimes where I needed, an 18-year-old or whatever, because there's limitations with being young, but that's besides the point. So there was many times I had to work hard for money with a job that paid minimum wage, um, just to throw away, or at least it felt like throwing away, sometimes hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars on something I had no idea if it would work out or not. And to be completely honest, the first couple of times it didn't work out. So that obviously was a challenge that I had to overcome, is that I saw all these like past losses. I knew that I kept losing money. Everything that I tried would fail, but I knew I just had to stay motivated and keep trying. And because of all the lessons that I learned from the failures, I kind of started being smarter about how I managed a business, how I managed my money, and I also learned how to like spend my money better, more efficiently, so I'm not wasting money on things I don't need, but rather kind of investing it, trying to make more money. So one of the serious kind of breakthroughs I had was, I kind of said, like, screw it, like I'll just put all of my money into a kind of stock portfolio, and I'm gonna get right into day trading. And that it had big losses, but I pretty much went fully in on that. I took that on more than I took on an actual job. I took on that instead of like running. I had a pretty decent eBay business selling clocks. Completely stopped making clocks, and fully locked it on day trading, and experienced some pretty big losses at first, but I kept learning. And in the end, all the learning that I had, I knew about the economy, the markets, whatever, which kind of led me to be profitable, and then led me to uh, be able to even like go to college, pay for college myself, and also kind of pay for all the expenses of not living with my parents, which was a huge thing for me at first. I never really thought I was going to go to college, but here I am. So that was kind of the strategy that I took to get over that. I suppose also, if you have any questions, I don't really know where to continue from here.
Oh, sure, man. I thought that was well done, man. Right on. Good job, Daniel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Zach, I talk a lot. Do you want to go first this time?
I was just say like kind of you were talking about day trading and things like going into that. Uh, like were there? I know there were probably huge monetary risks with that.
Yes.
Were there other kind of risks that you were encountering?
Well, since I suppose yes, the main one that I kind of had to get over was the fact that if I'm not gonna kind of work, if I'm not gonna focus on starting all these other businesses, how's that gonna look on a resume if it doesn't work out? Because if in day trading, you can't just put you're a day trader and then companies are gonna be like, oh, cool, let's hire this guy. Like, if I have a lot of different startups and if I'm able to say, here's my resume, here's all these things I've done, these internships I've done, then that's something. But if and even if I'm not interested in those and I don't pursue kind of those paths, it's not a huge loss. And in day trading, it's you can have one loss, which is the you lose your money. Sometimes people go in debt and they really do lose everything on it. But the thing for me is not only I was risking money, but I was also risking wasting like so much time on something that I could be having internships, I could be having jobs, I could kind of be working on businesses, and that's just sacrificing my portfolio on something that might just be a pipe dream.
And I
Okay.
mean, obviously the situation worked out, right?
Yeah, yeah, it worked well.
So opportunity cost, you guys are going to hear that a lot coming up in your lives. If I'm doing school, how am I earning money? Right? If I'm earning money in this business, what about this other business that I've got going on, or a relationship, or whatever else? So it sounds like you put it together. Back to the style of the writing. To me, this is emotional, so it got me on a what they called a pathos, I think. There's the ethos was credibility, logos was reason. So yeah, you got me in an emotional level because I'm also a business startup guy. I got a venture that I've been doing for 13 years, and sometimes try, fail, and adjust is constant. Daniel, I wish I could say you
Yeah,
just figure it out once and you're good, but it's a mindset that you grow skin that at any time something can not trend anymore, or so how do you become evergreen? Are you familiar with the term evergreen?
I'm not.
So evergreen means that you've got something that is over and over and over. It works. It's always green, right? It's making money for you continually.
Right.
Got
And
a
I
form.
guess that's also maybe kind of the opposite of entrepreneurship in a way because entrepreneurship's all about taking risks and sometimes failing, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of the time. I did also like that. What struck with me is it sounds like you're a young guy. You're striking out really on your own to take some risk without like having your parents like pay the tab on it. Um, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of people that I've met that are younger that just they don't really attempt to engage in the world they live in. They
Yeah.
just kind of like, I'm just going to live in my mom's or dad's basement, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
So, kudos for stretching your mind and stretching your risk tolerance, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. The Another kind of point on your storytelling. I mean, you talked about you talked about your risks of like you wanting to leave your parents' home, and that kind of was your conflict. It was like you don't want you did bring up good conflicts, but you're also kind of obviously sorry, I lost my train of thought.
All good.
But yeah, you had good conflict. You brought up conflicts, and you brought up what your strategy was for kind of trying to mitigate that conflict. But you also, I don't remember if you ever really talked about how exactly that conflict worked out or was resolved?
I suppose if I understood this right, you're saying that the conflict I had was um that I guess wanted to have money when I didn't, and right, and
Mm-hmm.
I did want to like move out and be independent early on. Um, so I guess I could elaborate on that. That I just
Yeah,
to kind
and
of
you don't have to right now. This is kind of just like points on how your story could have been improved. This is
okay.
like
Okay.
this is like we're talking about pros and cons here with the storytelling, right?
Yeah. I see what you mean. I was just thinking like I could try to think about that and like elaborate just for practice. But
Yeah.
yeah, all good. I understand.
I
What
mean,
you,
yeah, you can if you want. I was just
I honestly,
getting the points.
it's all good.
Okay.
Uh, question, guys, do you think we have satisfied the the agenda for tonight? I want to be respectful of your time. I know
I, I believe so.
I think
we've got our 30 minutes in. I want to encourage all of us to, from here on, like make sure we get our numbers exchanged and emails so that we coordinate a
yep.
little better,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
for sure.
see if we can get Victor in into this, what we can do to kind of catch him up. We'll send him the YouTube video. Maybe we can talk to the instructors and see, for this first one, if we can get him involved somehow so he gets credit, or if
Yeah,
he needs to find another group that gives that fits better into his timing, that we allow him, to be able to do that or make that
yeah.
happen.
Because there are five of us in this group, and only three of us came tonight, which honestly, it was kind of a last minute thing for us because we did do this like 2 nights ago is when, and not many people were participating in discussion zero, which is something that we need to kind of address, and that's why we're. Uh, it's. I think I like your idea of sharing phone numbers and stuff.
I
Um,
also, if you guys see that, I sent my phone number and email into the chat. Do you see that?
do you mind, like, we'll put one of those together in the notes in the I think I saw there's like files or collaboration, or there's some way for us to like make documents to share or something, so that we've got it there versus trying to scribble it down right now.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Okay, that works too. Yeah.
That way we all have it in a central location.
Yep.
Let's see. What else I have? Man, is anybody else feel like they're having Alzheimer's early on? I feel like I'm foggy a lot of the time sometimes. I used to be like super, super fast and quick and on it. I feel like, is that old age that's getting me, or are other people having that going on?
I mean,
Maybe it's just all the short form content, all the TikToks and everything.
Right? Definitely
Mhm.
probably part of it. I want to talk more to you guys about personal things, and kind of start creating. Are you from Arizona as well, Daniel?
Well, right now I live on campus, but I'm originally from Washington, kind of all over the place there.
But you're here now. Okay, awesome.
Yes, yes.
Because I'm trying to get my old business going, but I'm also starting a new business. So I might pick you guys' brains about that business at a future date, if that's cool with you guys.
Okay,
Mhm.
sounds good.
We've got
All
like
right.
way more
Well,
discussions, two more discussions to do.
anything else you guys want to throw in before I hit the end of the recording? And it'll be my job this time, to go ahead and get that put together, and record and put on YouTube and transfer it so that we get credit for it.
No, I think we're good.
All
Thank
sounds
you
good.
for hosting, Dimitri, and thanks for putting this
Well,
together.
thank you.
Yep, no worries. And I think there is a way, because the rest of them that I have set up, or the next one, it was for April 9th. So if you guys want to have the experience of setting one of these up, you can. It's up to you guys. But we'll try to figure it up and get that set up as well.
You know, these the days that you put on the discussion zero were good for me for sure. So I'm good on that front, schedule wise as well.
How about you, Daniel?
I'm all good with everything. Everything sounds good.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
it's just the only
And
nights I can't do this late are Wednesdays right now. So that works.
Yep, I think the future ones will be Thursdays, and then we might talk to the instructor because we made the first discussion. So if we do the next one and the next one, I mean, we might
And
be
we're
able to
done.
not have to do a fourth one.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, Dimitri.
All right, guys. Thank you. Take care. Bye,
Take
guys.
care.
Bye.